My YouTubers, don't forget to comment below, like, share and subscribe. Most importantly, click the notification bell to receive all of Charlene Clark's podcasts.
Welcome, listeners, to another week's episode of the Inspirational Saturdays Show. Another week's episode, listeners. Boy, the time is moving like a jet. The time is jetting away. It would seem as though it was just yesterday. I had an engagement with you just yesterday. It's been 1 week. Time. Do you believe in time though? What is time for you? Do you believe time exists? Do you believe in a 24-hour day? Because some days seems longer than some. And do you believe that we are living our fullest potential? I mean, do you believe we're doing or we're living the way God wants us to live? Or this is the way that it was meant for us. The way that we're living was meant for us to live. Now, ponder on it a little bit. As I speak of time. What really is time? Who created time? What created time? Is it the sun or the moon? Or how is it that, man was able to determine when it's a particular time in comparison to another? Yes, some might say is the rising of the sun and the setting of the sun, and when the sun flip over, turn over, spin around, whatever it is. But what is time for you? What is time for you? If when I was younger, next month is December. When I was younger, way younger, when I was a child, let me put it this way. When I was a child, I remember I used to wait forever for December, because when I was a child, I was into the glory of Christmas season. As a matter of fact, my Christmas began the first day of December. And so when I was a child, I remember December seemed so far. And when I know that I'm an adult, I wait for practically nothing, December comes and go like it was, water flowing from a tap. One might say, I thought about it. I sat and thought about it in my quiet space. And I arrived at the notion that, it's probably because I'm an adult now and I'm more aware. When I was a child, I depended on my parents, right, to provide everything. It was my parents' responsibility to ensure that I was okay. And so December for me seems so far, because December was a time when you enjoy most of what you weren't able to enjoy in the previous 11 months. So December was that moment of, fun and frolic and enjoyment and family get together. Some family members that you've not seen in decades, family get together and gifts and new clothes, and everybody seemed so happy. But no, because I'm an adult, I am now responsible for my own necessities. And so it makes it much different. And so the feeling that I had for December as a child is very much different now. And now I don't really have that type of feeling, right, as I did as a child. And when I sat and I thought about it, I said to myself, I believe it's simply because of the mere fact that now I'm an adult. I am now providing. It's my responsibility to provide for myself. So probably time is not moving as fast as I believe it is. It's simply the mere fact that now as an adult, I am more aware. And I found peace in that. And I said, well, then I understood. I found peace in that. But then when I speak to a group of kids and these children are saying to me, boy, the time is moving fast and time is just flying by and December just finished and December is coming again. I had to go back in my quiet space to rethink, because now I'm realizing that it couldn't be. It couldn't be because of that, because the children now are of the same view the children now share the same view that I have in relation to time moving like a bullet, time jetting away. So it couldn't be because I'm an adult and I'm more aware and I am now providing for myself and things have changed. It could not be because the children now are sharing the same view that I have of time. What is time? What is time? You know, think about it now. How are we living in this time? And in this time, I'm not talking about the pandemic time. I'm talking about time in and of itself. How are we living? Are we really truly enjoying our lives? Are we expanding or should I say spreading our wings? Are we tapping into opportunities that might come our way? What is time for us? How do we view time? Now, if time exists, how are we living our lives? Now, most of what we do are cyclical things. Think about it, or if we have observed what we do, our life is cyclical. You do the same things every day. I mean, some of us might say not exactly, but for the most part, we do the same things every day and we wake up in the same space every day. Let's put COVID aside now. Now, at a particular time, you're told when to rest. At a particular time, you're expected to rise. At a particular time, you're expected to go to work. And you go to work on pretty much the same things. Even if there is a little difference, it's just tweaks here and there, right? At a particular time, you're instructed, you're directed as to how to have lunch. So you have your lunch hour, whatever time. At a particular time, you're expected to leave work. You leave work. Then now you have the remaining time after work to decide what you do. So you might either go hang with the friends, and this is before COVID, pre-COVID, right? So we're not talking. Let's not put COVID in the picture right now. So you might go hang with your friends to have a social moment together. Or you might decide that you're going to the gym, or you might decide that you're going straight home to prepare a meal for your family, whatever it is. And during those moments before rest time again, you decide that you might do some house chores, which includes chilling with the family, or, you know, having that quiet moment for yourself. And then it starts all over again after that 24 hours completed, and then we're starting a new 24 hour, right? So if you look at it, your life is a cycle. It's cyclical. It's cyclical. Who determined this? And why does it have to be so? And if you're doing the same things over and over and over, what really is the purpose of your entity being here? What is your purpose here on earth? And how does time These are not questions that I have the answers for. These are not questions that, let's call them rhetorical questions. Not so much rhetorical questions. These are questions to kind of have you thinking. So it's not questions that I'm going to give answers for, because the answers for these questions is dependent on you, the individual. So what is your purpose here? If your purpose is to box yourself in within the 24 hours that we are given for the day, or we're told that makes up the day, right? And if you allow yourself to be boxed in by those 24 hours, and in your box, you're also given the mantra as it relates to how you carry out your daily duties, your life within the 24 hours. What then is your purpose here on earth? You see, I spoke about, boxing yourself in, and I want us to look at it from varying perspectives, right? I want us to look at it from varying point of view as it relates to boxing yourself in. Now, what if you can determine how you go about living here on earth, given the time that you're given, or given the time that is prescribed for us? Remember, we're talking about a 24-hour day, because the morning starts at a particular time, the afternoon starts at a particular time, and the evening starts at a particular time, ends at a particular time, and it starts again the next day. So Monday is the same day as Tuesday. It's just a different name. When you look at it, Monday for you, Monday for us, is the same day as Tuesday. It's just a different name of the 24-hour day. Why? The things you do Monday will resemble the things you do, will be the same things you do on Tuesday. So, and will be the same things you will be doing on Wednesday. So the difference in your day is the naming of the day, but not what it is that you do with the time that is prescribed for us. And so we live in this time bound prescription, given also the manual of how to carry out our daily lives. Now think about it. What if you could change the way you do things here on earth while you're living? What if you could decide that, well, for me, I am going to start my day at 1 a.m. and that is when my day will be started. I'm going to start my day at 1 a.m. and I'm going to endeavor to do these things in my life. And so because I want to do these things in my life, my life cannot be cyclical. I don't know if you see where I'm going with this, but soon I'll get there. So because I want to do these various things in my life, I cannot be doing the same things every day, because I would just be repeating. And if I'm doing the same things every day, it means that I'm not moving forward. I'm not going anywhere, right? So what would you do if you had that opportunity to change? Well, we all have the opportunity. Then what would you do? And if we all have the opportunity to live our lives the way we want to live it, even though we still have to do so within boundaries, what would you do differently? And do you believe if you should do things differently by focusing on your purpose while you're here on earth, do you believe that you would be living a more fulfilling life? Well, my opinion, I believe so. Well, for me, I believe so. If I had the opportunity, if I decide, because we all have the opportunity, but guess what? Sometimes because of our state of life and state of mind, we are afraid to do what we really want to do, because we're thinking about, okay, so if I'm going to do these things, it means that I cannot have a 9-to-5 job. And if I cannot have a 9-to-5 job, it means that the children will not be able to go to school, the bills will not be able to be paid, all these things that comes with the 9-to-5 job. Comes with having a 9-to-5 job, because we work we work to pay bills. Now, if we can shift that paradigm of thought, working to pay bills, listen, we work to pay our school fees, we work to pay the kids' school fee, we work school fees or school fee if we have more than one child, if we have many children or more than one child. We work to pay the various domestic bills. That's what we work for. So we go to school to get an education, to come back and work our butts off to pay bills. What if we decide that, listen, I'm going to change this for me. I am going to change this for me. I am not going to be boxing myself in to pay bills, to do this. I am going to live my life to the fullest, to understand my purpose here on earth. And it's because of our hindsight being blocked why we're not able to realize our true potential here on earth. And if it is that we are able, or we want let me rephrase that. If it is that we can now begin to live our lives in a way to understand our true potential here on earth, it simply means that we have to be bold and decide that we will have to do things differently. I was having a similar type of discussion with a colleague of mine, and for about half an hour or so, we were talking. I was talking, she was listening, and throughout the entire moment of me talking about this possibility, her eyes were popped open for the entire time we were talking, and she said, "Charlene, you're truly crazy." Now that I'm on the topic of crazy, is it really being crazy, or is it really being practical? Because we become sick, we become disgusted, we become tired, we become frustrated, we become discouraged, and all the other adjectives that you can use that is not so positive, only because of our own doing in allowing ourselves to be boxed in because of the time that was prescribed for us, right? And our belief system, right? So let's go back to crazy, because this is the example I gave her. Let's talk about someone who decide that, listen, I'm going to give it up because the luxurious cars, I'm going to give up the luxury of life, which includes eating lobster. That's a luxury, because you don't necessarily have to eat lobster to survive. Maslow talk about the hierarchy of needs and basic needs. The basic needs, food, shelter, right? Food doesn't have to be lobster, but because we can afford lobster, we do have lobster, right? So that's a luxury. Food can be anything, right? Doesn't necessarily, that's a choice, right? So if let's compare ourselves. Let's compare. All right, let's look at this possibility through the eyes of an individual who decides that I am giving up the luxury of life. And once we hear somebody say, well, then listen, I'm going to sell the car, or donate the car. I'm going to stop paying the mortgage. Well, either I'm going to give it to a family member, let them continue with the mortgage and keep the whole house for themselves, or I'm going to sell the house, and I'm going to donate these monies to some type of foundation slash charity, and I am going to live my life. We will all begin to look at that person. Oh, he's going crazy. He's going crazy. How could one person want to give up all these things to go and live their life? Then what is it that they're going to be doing to be living life? Living life is all about the flashy cars, and it doesn't have to be flashy, but living life is all about being comfortable in our home and having our cars that we can drive around. But if you stop and think about it, that's not living life. That is frustrating us, because we know having to ensure that we maintain all these bills, because we work and go out, and we went out to acquire all these things, and now we have to work a little bit harder to maintain them. It is driving us crazy. So who is really crazy? Maybe I am. But think about it, listeners. Think about it. Think about it deeply. So let's continue with this man's perspective now. And so he decided to live his life, and so he gave up all his belongings and decided to go somewhere in the mountains or even in the valleys, and to live among nature, simple nature. And he would make a hut, and he would have access to food. And the food that he's accessing is food that is naturally grown. So he's now living in an area where you have all different types of vegetable and fruits naturally grown. And he has access to water, pure spring water. And of course, when it's dark, because I'm not talking about time for him now, when it's dark, when the sun sets, there's no electricity where he is. However, he is living off the land, and he can make fire and keep himself or herself or the family warm. But can you compare the state of mind of somebody who decide to live a life where it is peaceful, in terms of not having to be thinking about the next bill that must be paid, in comparison to somebody who is or who must ensure that the electricity bill is paid, the water is paid, the heat is paid, whatever it is paid. Think about that person's state of mind in comparison to ours. And yet sometimes we think that the luxurious things that we acquire in life makes us who we are. When in truth and in fact, sometimes the luxurious things that we acquire in life is breaking us and causing us deep frustration. The less you have in terms of these earthly acquired things, is the more at peace you can be. Think about it. If we were not caught up with this whole time situation, and nightfall now, and it's time to go to bed, and we need to get up in the morning at a particular time to go to work. Think about what that would do for your state of mind. And anything that will enable your state of mind to be healthy or healthier, it means that your body will also reap the benefit. And only then at that moment in time, we can realize our true potential. You see, coming back to this, we are not able to identify our true potential here on earth because we are so caught up with acquiring the earthly things that we are putting ourselves under pressure to acquire. And so because we are constantly thinking about the next thing that we need and the next bill that we have to pay in order to acquire the next thing that we believe we need, our minds are not able to zoom in or to focus on our state of being. So many a times we say, well then listen, I have some things to do, but guess what? I'm going to put it off for tomorrow. Tomorrow is promised to no one. If the time is prescribed in such a way and we're living within a particular time, who determines what happens tomorrow? You see, we just live our lives today and plan for tomorrow. And so we save the best for tomorrow. What do I mean by that? What I mean is this. We want to enjoy our vacation. we want to do something that is different outside of what time prescribes for us. And so we say, well then I'm going to do this tomorrow. And that's why you have vacation, right? You have vacation because it's the planned thing for the future. A vacation is for the future. What then is the present? What is the plan for the present? For the present moment. If vacation is for the future, and for vacation, a vacation for us is really the moment when we decide that we're going to enjoy our time away from prescribed time. So we're going to enjoy our moments away from work, or moments sometimes, and I said vacation, not staycation. So we're going to enjoy our moments away from home. You know, we're going to enjoy a different atmosphere. So vacation is a plan for the future. What is the plan for the present? And this is something too that I want you to think about. What is the present plan? The present plan is to go to work, wake up at 8 a.m. or wake up at 7 a.m., whatever time, fix breakfast for the kids, and, you know, or whatever it is that you do before you go to work, right? And then when you go to work, you work your butt off in order to pay the bills, to keep the bills paid. So you can go home and watch TV, or you can go home and do pretty much the same thing that you're going to do tomorrow, right? The only time we do something differently is when we plan for the future, which is the vacation. So I'm saying, arrive at a plan for your present. Your present situation is what is most important. So if your present situation is most important, why are we putting the importance in the plan for the future? Think about it logically. Something must be wrong with that. The present situation is what we now know of. We are living now. We are doing things now. We do not know what the future will bring, but we plan the best for the future. And so we say, oh, presently, I'm just going to, probably I might say some things that you might not even think about. So, no, I am living in a particular area, but I'm going to plan to move in the future to somewhere that I perceive to be better, right? So I am going to work harder for the future. And even though, okay, we are all told to save for the rainy day, but what if when the day rains for us, we don't live to see the sunshine right after? What if a rainy day for us means something else? So I'm saying, plan for the plan the best, do the best plan for your present, and not just for the future, because the future is in the tomorrow, and the tomorrow is not known. The present is what you know, and time determines in this hemisphere, in this situation, time determines what we do now, right? So there are many things that I want you to think about differently in order to reach your true potential in life. When we think about, okay, it's time for us to do something different to feel better about myself. It means that you're going to be shifting. You know, something, there is a saying, something must give for something to happen. What are you willing to give in order to ensure that you understand your purpose? Your purpose here on earth, our purpose here on earth is not what we are doing on a daily basis. We are not meant, remember, this is my opinion. You might share a different opinion. And if you do, I welcome your comments so we can have a healthy discussion. I do not believe that we were designed to be living in this cyclical state. Not only that it's boring, but anything that happens the same way over and over and over again, you will not progress. Think about it. You cannot progress with a cyclical situation. You have to be changing, improving, shifting in order to recognize development of self, moving into the next stage. But there is no next stage. If this is how we do things as it relates to time and what time prescribes for us and how we live, there is no change. Change is not real for us, because even what we believe to be change is still a cyclical moment. So what is it that you're going to do differently? What is it that you would like to do differently? But the first question that you would need to ask yourselves would be, what is your true purpose here on earth? Are you living your potential? And if you want to live your potential in order to realize your true purpose here on earth, what it is, or what is it that you will need to do and do differently? Because you cannot do cyclical things to realize growth and development and change. Now, of course, you don't have to agree, because agreeing and disagreeing also has to do with one's belief system and perception of things. And with that too, we are programmed. We are programmed to believe more in the things that we can truly see and, hear. But if we can't see, or we were not programmed that way to believe in the things that we really can, one of the main things or belief, or whatever it is that you want to call it, we are programmed to believe in that we cannot really see, is the supreme being. So we are programmed to believe that there is a supreme being, there's a God, and of course there is, and we believe in that wholeheartedly. For those of us who believe in the supreme being, we believe in that wholeheartedly. We will close our eyes and we will pray and we will believe in that wholeheartedly. Outside of that, if someone tells you that, listen, I can close my eyes and be in a different space through my spirit, and I can travel, I can allow my spirit to travel, my spirit to leave my body and travel, and I can tell you about many places outside of where I live, and I can show you my passport that I have never taken a plane to these locations, but I can tell you about it because I am able to do that. We are not going to believe. We are not going to believe, because we're not programmed. We are not programmed that way, and then we're going to think that person is crazy and other things. And because of that, because of our programmed belief system in relation to time, we are not able to step out of ourselves in order to expand and change our state of living, and change our state of happiness, and change our state of what it is that we really are placed here on earth to do. An individual who changes his or her state of belief and decide to live life in a different way, we also are programmed to believe that they are abnormal, or they're crazy, or something is wrong with them. And so we cast them aside and say, well, then they are not thinking straight. They can't be a part of our space because they're crazy. While they're looking at us to say we are the ones who are crazy because, hey, I am eating, I'm sleeping, I'm healthy. As a matter of fact, I'm more healthy or I'm healthier than you are. I'm healthier than you are because of my state of being. I am eating from the land. I am farming my own. I'm farming my own food, and I'm eating from the land, while you have to be eating from wherever else that you are eating from. So whatever it is that your body experiencing, my body is not experiencing that. I'm able to breathe. I'm able to think logically, and I'm brighter. Because when the mind is relieved of all these stress, the brain starts working the way, you see, our brains are not even working the way that it is meant it is meant to work. We are not using up the capacity of our brain that we possibly can, because we are focused on so many other things. And when you're focused on so many other things, of course, the things that sometimes will help to elevate and develop us get lost, because we're not able to zoom in on those things, because we don't have the mental capacity to do so when our minds, our belief system is diverted based on the prescription that we are given. It sounds crazy. Yes, it would. It would sound crazy, but think about it. Think about it logically. A friend told me a friend of mine once told me that before I get to the friend, during my teen life, when I was a teenager, I used to have a conversation with a particular person who people deem to be crazy. You know, they persons who they say are of unsound minds. In Jamaica, we call them madman. Right? So I used to have conversation, and I remember one morning, I was waiting on a taxi to get to my destination where I wanted to go, and he was walking, and yes, when he see me, I'm going into the pattern now, but whenever he's passing by and he sees me, he would stop, because it's somebody that I have conversation with. When I see him, you know, I would not care about the eyes that are looking like, you know, she's crazy, she's talking to a crazy person. Fine. But there is some sort of sense to my madness, and I know why I'm doing it. So I remember one morning he stopped and he said to me, "Where are you going?" So I told him where I was going. And he said to me, "Well, let's walk." No, I did not reach the level to walk with him. I would stand and have a discussion, a short, nice little discussion with him. You know, sometimes he would humor me, and sometimes he would laugh at me, like seriously laugh at me. And I understand why, because in his mind, he's thinking that I'm crazy, because here he is living freely, and I am so caught up with, at the time I was going to college, he didn't have to go to college to eat. He didn't have to go to college to sleep. He didn't have to go to college to get to where he was going. I was going to college, but yet I was standing on the side of the road waiting on a cab. And he said to me, "Let's walk. It's not far." Doesn't sound like a crazy person to me. And I said to him, "No, it's okay. You walk, and I'll wait until I get a cab." And he laughed, and he said to me, it's better when you walk, because when you walk, you can exercise your leg. Your legs take up more of your body. So it means that you should walk. And this is a crazy person talking to me, right? And he walked off and left me. And while he was walking, and as I watched him disappear in the heat of the sunlight, I was just thinking to myself, well, he made sense. He made a lot of sense. No. Naturally, I'm not going to be walking with him. Like I said, I didn't reach that level with him. But he made a lot of sense, right? So a friend of mine said to me that oftentimes she would based on the type of work that she does. She works at a home, and oftentimes she would hear. And this type of home, though, it's really, you have elderly people there who suffers from dementia and Alzheimer's disease and those type of things that, affects the memory. And so she would hear how they discuss and they talk. And even though they were being treated for the various conditions that they had, she thought that when they move off into their discussion based on what it is that they were experiencing, those were the moments that she learned a lot from them. And she saw it as a fulfilling job. So sometimes we have to step outside of ourselves and evaluate the entire situation and the things that we do to see if really and truly the things that we do makes sense. Because truth be told, we are all crazy people. No, I was talking to a friend of mine again the other day, and she has a job. And the job that she has takes her away from home for weeks, sometimes months. And she worked very hard. And she decided that she wanted to buy a home, which is beautiful and nice. We all want to own our own homes, right? That is very good. And prosperity is a key. And for some of us, prosperity is owning a home and other things. Fine. But I remember she said to me that she is considering, this is a job she has been in for 10 years, but she's considering moving into another job, starting afresh because of increase in salary. And she's not able to pay her mortgage because she's not getting commission anymore because of the COVID pandemic situation that is happening. Now, the home that she bought, that she's working so hard to keep, out of the entire month, she probably only sleeps there 2 nights, sometimes 1 night, sometimes. For the month, she would not see the home. Is that practical? Think about it. Is it practical? Is it logical? What could she have done differently? I don't know. But I cannot understand the practicality of it. So you work so hard to maintain the bills and buy this home that you're not using. What is the sense in that? And many of us do that. Many of us do that because we can acquire these things. We do acquire them. And then we work so hard to maintain them. We have 10 cars. We have 3 cars. And it's just the 2 adults in the family can drive. And at any point in time, we only can drive 1, each of us. Why do we then need 3? And sometimes we work so hard, and it's because of the stress of life that we put ourselves in, working so hard to maintain these material acquisitions, or should I say these material wants, because they're not needs, these material wants that causes us to have diabetes, that causes us to have high blood pressure, that causes many different types of disease, because stress is a silent killer. And so we end up going to the doctor, living on pills, doing all these things, unnecessarily, giving you food for thought. And I hope that, together we can think about some of these things. And I go back to where I started. What is time? Time is just as it is. Time is what we make it. And if we do more than what we are doing now, or if we change the way we do things now, we will recognize that time has no bounds or no bearing on success. If we want to see different things happening for us, then we have to change the way we do things. We cannot expect improvement and difference in how things or difference in our lives rather, but yet still doing the same things in the same way over and over and over again. That cannot bring forth changes. So if we want to see changes in our lives as it relates to improvement, development of self, and understanding our true potential, living life to its true potential, then we have to find a way to step out of this cyclical state of being, because only then and then only would we be able to understand our true potential and live our lives to the fullest. Stop putting off your best plans for the future. So start planning for the present. And how do you plan for the present? You do the things you want to do in the present moment. The future is just that, the future. And you might not be there to celebrate. A rainy day doesn't mean that you're going to be there to see the sun shine when the rain ceases. So a rainy day, saving for a rainy day, is not practical to enjoying your lives. We spend our lives working hard and saving for that rainy day, and the rainy day comes and we are not able to enjoy the fruits of our labor. And as I said, fruits of our labor, ensure that you don't labor without feeding your body. And when I say feeding your body, I'm not talking about literal food. I'm talking about engaging your mind, changing the way you think, changing your paradigm of thought about the whole essence of time, about the whole essence of your purpose here on earth, and about the whole essence of how you're going to enjoy your life to the fullest and the things that you do for yourselves and your families. Believe some more. We are too boxed in, caged in, and tend to believe only that we can see. And sometimes things are presented to us, and because we are so blinded by our own incompetence or our own inability to step outside of this notion of things only can happen based on how we are programmed to believe things to happen, we're not able to see what is placed in front of us, right? So have a wide belief system and ensure that you allow yourself to expand. Do remember to comment. I really want to have a discussion with you, and I'd like to also, hear your views. I'd like you to share your opinion. So comment, like, subscribe, and of course, let's share the good news. When you get good news, you need to share it. So listeners, thank you so very much for tuning in. My name is Charlene Clark. It was indeed a pleasure